Orlando. The day we left for Orlando, practically the whole town of Kenwood turned up to send us off to Florida, where the Mickey Mouse Club was taped. There was a huge cake, and they declared it official Britney Spears Day. Britney and I were both overwhelmed at the kindness and warmth of the well-wishers from our town. Christina, Justin, and Ryan and their mothers lived in the same apartment complex as Britney, Jamie, Lynne, and I, and we all became good friends for 2 years in a row. For 4 months at a time, the other moms and I bonded at the pool, going shopping, going out to eat, and hanging out at Disney World, where all where we all had complete access because of our affiliation with Disney, as opposed to later years when Jamie Lynn was taping Zoe 101. Disney didn't want the parents on the set at all except during the 2 days when the show was taped. This meant toddler Jamie Lynn and I had plenty of time on our hands. I'd cook, clean, and basically fulfill my general routine as a mom, and we'd go to the pool or play at Disney World. Friends such as Margaret would come and visit and take advantage of the all-access pass we had to the theme park. Not bad as perks go. In no time, Christina and Britney were thick as thieves. Christina has the sweetest mom, who has a heart of gold. She was full of creativity and ideas and love for her daughter. But you know, teenagers, they think that the grass is always greener at their friends' houses. Christina was over all the time for meals and for sleepovers. I think she was drawn to my southern cooking, and she really was like another daughter for a while. I'm so proud of that girl and the woman she has become. The show was an absolutely terrific training ground for these stars in the making. They learned to sing and dance and act and do sketch comedy. Those Mickey Mouse Club numbers groomed Britney to be a pop star, although at the time I never could have imagined what her future held. We were just taking things one opportunity at a time. Christina and Britney cried their eyes out when the show ended after 3 seasons. They had so much in common and had become such close friends. Mickey Mouse Club had become like a family for all of us, and the show itself was a nurturing place to develop their skills. It was hard to see that era end, but on the other hand, it was time again to go back home to Louisiana. Normal girl. We returned to Kenwood, where Britney just wanted to go back to being a regular kid. Play basketball, go to school, do all those normal things she had missed out on. Or at least that's what she thought she wanted. I was as happy as a clam to get back into my routines at home of cooking, gardening, sharing kids around to various places. Truly, home in my small town is my natural habitat, where I feel the most comfortable, settled, and content. Then one day Britney came and talked with me. She wasn't nearly as content as I was to live the everyday life back home. "I want to sing, Mom," she said. "I would like to be homeschooled." Wow, one day your kid wakes up and announces she wants something completely different for her life than you thought she did. Or at least she wanted that something faster than I thought she would. I assumed she would finish out her schooling in Kenwood and then pursue a career in entertainment. Instead, she wanted to be homeschooled so some she could get on with singing now. "But honey, I thought you were so happy in school," was the first thing that popped out of my mouth. Her declaration, so earnest and genuine, came out of the blue for me, although in retrospect I should not have been so shocked. The showbiz bug had beaten my girl heart. We had a decision to make. Would we help our daughter achieve her dreams now, or would we make her wait until she was an adult and could strike out on her own? Jamie was 10% on board with that farmer. He wanted his daughter to succeed, and many times we would find a way to make it happen. When we didn't have money to travel to an audition, Jamie would often pull it out of a hat somehow, borrowing it from friends and paying them back as soon as he was able. In terms of Britney and her dreams, he never left her stranded. My opinion, we would take in one opportunity at a time, just as we always had. That next summer, when Britney was 14, a friend had heard about an audition in New York for an all-girl band. I was teaching and we couldn't afford airfare for me anyway. How would we get Britney to New York? Once again, my friend Margaret saved the day, traveling with Britney to the audition and paying for her own airfare and expenses as some of Britney's expenses. They stayed with friends of ours from the ruthless days. The contact in New York was cheap. The contact in New York was a creep. Britney and Margaret both felt that right off the bat. He could not be trusted to keep his word or anything. Although he was full of promises, Britney knew immediately she did not want to work with him. But one good thing came out of that contact. He introduced us to Larry Rudolph, to an entertainment lawyer who became Britney's trusted agent for many years. First, though, we started by asking Larry for advice. I sent him a recent photo of Britney, an Instamatic picture I had taken of her. A photographer I am not, but evidently the photo was clear enough to show him how beautiful Britney was. Send me a tape of her singing, he said. I mailed Larry a tape of Britney singing at a wedding soon after that. We have something here, was his response. Then he sent her a song that had been rejected for one of Toni Braxton's albums, and Britney recorded it. On the strength of that song, he was able to arrange for a meeting in New York with a couple of record labels. At the time, we certainly didn't have the money to fly ourselves to New York. It was a slow time period for Jamie's construction business, and we were all still in the gutter financially, owing more than we were earning. The $200 per ticket might as well have been $2,000 a ticket. Larry paid for that trip to New York, or we never would have gone. In the days and weeks preceding the audition, we were guardedly excited. After all, what does it do to get ahead of yourself? We had no idea what would happen in New York. For her audition at Jive Records, they asked Britney to sing something a cappella, which she was not prepared for. I suggested they sing Whitney Houston's version of one of our favorite hymns, Amazing Grace. At the time, her Christian walk was strong, and she sang that great hymn of the faith with all the heartfelt emotion in the world, adding all kinds of runs and bells and whistles. That song blew away, and the 15 men in suits sitting in the office. I prayed for her the whole time because it was such an intimidating situation, and we were both feeling anxious. But when she started singing that Eagles song with such clarity and beauty, she sounded astonishing, like a youth Aretha Franklin, soulful and pure. In my mind, that was her real voice sounds like. A wholesome, powerful sound, not like the pretty super-produced pop voice given her by record producers. She had her showcase or audition at Mercury Records the next day. Mercury passed on her. I just don't see it. An executive over there told Larry, I'll bet he sees it now. Thankfully, Jive had a completely different response, a clear eyes to his youth, teen, and her powerful voice. They signed her to a recording contract from that moment on. Britney's life has been on a course not unlike a racetrack. Fast, exhilarating, and full of twists and turns, both exciting and dangerous. More than once in the next few years, my precious child would hit the wall, and the impact would have painful reverberations for every member of my family. This is coming from a mother's heart, not a professional record ex- executive. But before the recording studio tinkered with that big, bold voice, my sweet girl could blow the roof off a house with her strength and passion. My prayer for Britney, then and now, is that she regains her once strong, true voice again in more ways than one.